Oh my god. Wow, guys. Honestly, this is a game that I am truly raising my bar. Like, I have officially said it. This is raising my bar for this squad. Like, this is truly a really impressive win by this team. And I don't know if it's maybe just me, like, overrating the Magic potentially, but I have this Magic team second in the East, guys. Like, and to come out and go into Orlando, and you know, the Magic just had a rough loss last night, and you come in and knowing that the Magic are look to absolutely rebound and get back for that terrible loss, and you come in and you're able to pull out this victory. It's pretty impressive. It's a back-to-back for Orlando, but I thought Orlando was gonna come out and show, like, okay, like, last night was a fluke, like, we're gonna beat these Bulls tonight and we're gonna show that we're the better squad moving forward. And no, the Bulls came out, and by committee, mostly by the bench, which we're gonna absolutely give our biggest praises to the bench tonight, they came out and got this win over this Magic squad. And I cannot say, like, I am genuinely impressed by how well the bench played tonight and got this team this victory. So I am very, very impressed by this Bulls squad. And I mean, I did not think the Bulls were going to win either of these two games to start the season, and the Bulls won these two games to start the season. So it is officially tied for me, because I had the Magic at second and the Pistons at third in my East, and maybe I'm overrating both of those squads, but I mean, I think that this is showing, like, all right, the Bulls, man, then you better be, from here on out, against any Eastern Conference foe, and even some of the better Western Conference foes, like, I better see it every night then, guys. Like, this is honestly impressive. The depth that I was honestly really questioning to start this season, because with Collins out, like, I thought the center depth would be lacking a little bit, and without Kobe White, I'm, like, worried about our overall scoring, and I don't think the Bulls in either of these games have done, like, a great job scoring, but they're doing enough scoring and enough overall defense throughout the game to get these wins. And I am honestly, I'm genuinely really impressed. So we got a lot to cover in this one, to talk about how the Bulls started honestly pretty terrible defensively. So it's kind of like a flip from our last game, right, against the Pistons, where the first quarter, Orlando was getting way too much easy stuff in the paint. I mean, the Magic had 24 points in the paint after the first quarter, and I was just like, oh my god, like, come on, guys, like, this Magic team struggles to shoot, y'all gotta do better than this. And they were able to adjust. They did a good job adjusting throughout this game. Unfortunately, it led to some fouls, but they did enough to adjust to make sure that Orlando wasn't absolutely just destroying us like how they were in that first quarter. And the offense was able to keep steady enough throughout the game with our help of our bench to keep up the tempo and to keep the energy throughout the game. And the Bulls get to 110 and they get the victory. So honestly, did not expect, if there's any Bulls victories this season, I was not expecting it to be through these two ways, where the Bulls only shoot like 33s or less, and they don't make like a whole ton of them, but they're finding ways to win right now. And I have to say, again, truly impressed right now from this Bulls squad. So the bar's raised. Like, I'm being dead serious right now. So if, like, we can't just be like celebrating these wins and then, you know, go into Atlanta and put up a dud. Like, this is all right. You better show me then in Atlanta, like, you're serious, right? You got to come out and give a good fight every game. I'm not saying win every game. I'm just saying it's got to show every single night that we're gonna win this game by committee. We're gonna be playing as fast as we can throughout the game. We're looking to take advantage of every of the team's mistakes when we can. And throughout the game, we need to adjust our defense when things are not going well on the end of the floor. And we're finding that, at least for the time being, the Bulls are doing enough defensively. We'll talk about some things that I think there still needs to be worked on, as always. But this was, I think, a better game overall from like throughout, as we saw the Bulls adjust. So I'm honestly really impressed. So good job by the bench tonight. They have 58 bench points tonight. I cannot believe how well the bench played. Shout out Jalen Smith for a good rebound game after a really tough opener to the season. And, you know, a lot of Bulls fans are already calling for his head after one game. But good rebound from him, and we have a Bulls win to talk about. So before we get into it all, make sure to hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a lot. If you're new to the channel, like Bulls content, please subscribe. And we do have to talk about this Bulls victory and honestly how impressive it was. This was honestly really good. throughout at least a good portion of this game by this Bulls squad. So we will get into it. I appreciate everyone in the chat already here. Let me bring out chat automatically. So Charles, I feel like Herder and Trey had good games despite of stat lines people did not. So I think people actually had a really good game, honestly. Like, this to me was the best I've seen Patrick Williams play in a long time. If he just needs to come off the bench and give us this sort of effort, then all right, so be it. But I think this is honestly the best game that Patrick Williams has played a lot in like a long time. It's been a while since I've seen Patrick Williams play this well. He's not gonna ever dribble well. Like, I don't think that's ever something we need to even talk about at this point. Like, Patrick's never gonna be a good dribbler. Like, he just, for some reason, it's not gonna be something that he'll ever figure out. But in terms of being good defensively on Banchero, good defensively on Wagner, for most of the game, and then finding ways to get himself in scoring positions throughout the game, where posting up like the smaller guys on the Orlando Magic or like sealing them down low and drawing fouls. This was the most active I've seen Patrick Williams, and it led to more points. He had a pull-up three, and then we saw 2 dunks made by Patrick Williams. He didn't miss a dunk tonight, and he made 2, which is just, like, again, we've never are able to say this consistently about Pat, even though we feel like we should. But I think Pat honestly played a really solid game tonight. He was a big reason why the Bulls were able to stay in this one, because the Bulls had 2 no-shows in their starting lineup tonight. Buzelis fouled out early in the 4th quarter, and Isaac Okoro continues to really struggle still, and I'm glad Billy benched him for the 4th, because we didn't need to see him out there. But this is, to me, was Patrick Williams. Like, he filled that 4 spot really well and was a big key factor for this Bulls team throughout this game. So I think Pat did a great job tonight, so I'm going to disagree with you, Charles, honestly. But yeah, I'm personally I'm surprised by Pat. Like, this is the best I've seen him start a season, so I'm like basically praying to the gods that he doesn't get injured and it kind of kills his momentum at this point. But I think if we get this Pat movement forward, that it at least helps rise his stock, and we'll see what that eventually leads to, because like the unfortunate reality is just that his contract is so massive that like him coming off the bench is just, you know, like, this is a game where he played starter minutes, and so like he's not going to get this many minutes every single game. But him coming off the bench is just like, it's not great for 18 million a year, but at the very least you can still play well, and I think Pat deserves a lot of flowers for this one. He was a big key factor, I think, in this game. Terrible ball handler, I agree. Peel early, another lost dribble. Yeah, again, I think that Patrick had a lot of terrible lost dribbles tonight, but that's not what I really want to focus on. I think Pat, otherwise everywhere else, he did a really good job tonight, and I'm willing to show what I think he did a good job. Okoro didn't even notice the entire minutes he played for Impact neither, and we'll talk about Okoro a lot in this stream. I don't know what to say about Okoro. I honestly think that he just needs to come off the bench. But hey, I think, unfortunately, as much as I think Okoro needs to come off the bench, the Bulls are 2-0 when he starts. So it's like, we can't really do anything about it at this point, right? But I'm all for just like, if Okoro needs to start, then we just need to just like play him for like 6 minutes and then we just move on. But yeah, I'm all for anything else, honestly, for the Bulls, because like the bench very clearly played great tonight, and I'd be willing to start anyone else right now off the bench. But I'm not gonna be like all in on like, okay, you know, it's not like we're 0-2 and had like 2 treacherous games and Okoro is like, you know, a big reason why we're losing those games. He's not played well. I think Okoro's played awfully in these games, but I think, unfortunately, we're stuck with this starting lineup until something else happens. But yeah, we'll talk about what we can do with Okoro maybe a little bit later. But Magic lost it, and the Bulls won it, but we'll take it as healthy parts. I think that, honestly, this was, like, I do think that part of this was the back-to-back, but I honestly thought the Magic would come out and be like, no, like, okay, we shouldn't have lost last night, we gotta win this one, and they didn't. So, good job by the Bulls to shut that down. They, like, early on it was not great by the Bulls. Like, early on it wasn't good, but they were able to adjust defensively to the point where, like, okay, we understand that they're shooting poorly from the 3-point line. We need to do a better job of defending the paint and let them take the threes, and we'll bet on them not making them. And they were able to do that. Is that a defense that's going to consistently work well every game? No, because we're going to be facing teams that are better 3-point shooters. But to adjust into this game, to win this game, I give them credit for doing what was right. Unfortunately, it led to too many fouls in the third quarter, hence why you look at the box score, it was an even quarter. But they were able to pull this one out, and I'm like honestly really impressed by how Billy was able to adjust to this. And I give Billy credit for the last minutes. Like, he decided to just roll with the guys that he thought was playing the best, and you know, he played Trey Jones as like the main guard. He kept Io in after making some big shots. Patrick Williams was in the closing lineup, right? Like, I think like Billy deserves a lot of credit for just rolling with that lineup to end that game. And I don't know if the Bulls honestly are winning this convincingly at the end without like him keeping that lineup in, because like Io hit 3 massive threes in that half, and he hit a big one in late in that quarter. So I think Billy did a good job tonight. Again, I'm not like the Billy Donovan like biggest supporter. I honestly am pretty critical of him of most times, but this is good. I have to give him this credit, because the bench was rolling. You got to roll with the bench to end this game, because they were the biggest reasons why you were in this one for this game, and they got the lead. They were able to kind of stabilize the team a bit. They scored the majority of the points tonight. This is them. So I think Billy did a good job. I'm pretty happy with how he played it. I think my players of the game: Kevin / Trey and 3 Giddy. I'm gonna disagree personally. I think Jalen Smith is, to me, is my kind of my biggest like players of the game, because he did a really good job. He was extremely efficient in this one. He came in and was posting up guys in transition and was getting a lot of points in the interior. He honestly could have had more points if he just hit his free throws. But this is a big rebound for him. Like, he had a rough game in game 1, and he comes out and is like, no, we're not going to continue that. And he had a hell of a game tonight. So to me, it's Jalen Smith is probably number 1. Number 2 for me is Trey Jones. Trey Jones had 5 steals and was just all over the court tonight, and continues just to show his value. I think he was honestly really good throughout this entire game, and keeps bringing the stability that this Bulls team needs on the offensive end, just to like have a good pick and roll option. And he was really solid, honestly, for me. Number 3, I'd probably go with Giddey. It's more so for his play in the first half versus the second half. The second half wasn't the best from him. He was missing some shots he definitely needs to make. I need him to get rid of the floater. But in that first quarter specifically, I guess I should say, because he didn't score in the second, but that first quarter specifically was really good from him. He kept the Bulls like starting lineup kind of in the game before the bench came in. And then throughout the game, I think Giddey did a good job of getting the rebounds, like kind of tip outs and stuff like that the Bulls needed. And so I'll give it to him, but it's a pretty close, honestly, like third with Io, because Io hit some big shots and was a major part of this game. And you can maybe throw in Kevin Huerter as well. I personally would probably choose Io over Kevin, but it's pretty close. And honestly, I'm just saying the Bulls' entire bench at this point, but like Patrick Williams also really deserves his credit. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna throw him in here. Like, maybe I put him over Io, but like I think Patrick had a really good game tonight. I probably would still choose, like, I'll probably go Giddey, Io, and then Pat. I think that's the way I'll go with it. Yeah, I'll go Giddey, Io, then Pat. You can maybe flip like those 3 around, but overall though, like I said, I think it's Jalen Smith. I think it's Trey Jones is like the 2 best, and then like you can figure out the rest. But as you could probably tell though from what I'm saying, it's mostly the bench. Like, the bench did everything in this game. They were so good compared to the Orlando bench, and they were matching the Orlando starters for a good portion of that second half. And I was really impressed with how just in sync they looked, honestly. And Billy went 11 deep this game, which was very different compared to the last game where he technically went 10 deep, but like Dalen Terry got like 5 minutes and he didn't play in the first half. So Billy really went 9 deep in the first game, but this was 11 deep. Like, we saw Julian Phillips play, we saw DT play. They didn't really do too much, but he still obviously bought some time for some of these other guys, and we saw where the bench was able to take him. So good job. I hope even when Kobe back, Trey takes decent minutes, but mostly against teams with someone under 6'3" for guard / shorter lineups, not ones like Rockets or Jazz. I do think that the starting lineup is going to change a lot. Like, obviously in these first 2 games, you have guys that Okoro should be guarding, right? So that's why Okoro's in the lineup. You know, I think, for example, let's say if Kobe was back and the Bulls are about to face Trae Young, then I would at least my thoughts would be that Trey Jones would be in the lineup, but maybe not. It would definitely put some weird matchups for like Giddy and like Buzelis. Like Buzelis with the guard like Jalen Johnson, and Giddy be on like Risachet or something. But you would have Trey Jones and like Trey Young, for example. But I'm interested to see what happens when Kobe does come back, because I personally would just not start a Koro, and I would just run just Kobe, Giddy, and Trey. And I would just roll with it. Like, I guess like technically Giddy's like your 4 in a sense if you want to call Matas the 3. But I would honestly run that lineup just to kind of see what happens, because I think Trey Jones has played too good to just suddenly be taken out of the starting lineup. But if he's gonna go to the bench, he needs to get like a ton of minutes. Along with Io. Like, those two guys have done really solid work so far to start this season. So I would personally try to get those guys plenty of minutes as possible. But I would start Trey Jones personally over a Koro. It would definitely put a lot of pressure on guys like Giddy. Like, they'd have to guard some of the bigger guys compared to when a Koro's in the lineup. But I think you have to consider it. Like, again, Trey Jones has played too good, and Billy loves his 3-guard lineups anyway, so you might as well just run it. But we'll see. Magic shot the ball horribly, but the Bulls absolutely played good defense, forcing some bad shots. So, like I said, first quarter, absolutely not good defense by the Bulls. The Magic got way too many easy looks inside in the first quarter. I thought that they just let the Magic walk in, and it was not good. I have a phone call, so give me 1 second. I do apologize here. All right, sorry, I am back. Thank you for being patient. But yeah, so I think in that first quarter, it was not good defense by the Bulls. The Magic were just walking into the paint. It was way too simple for the Magic in that first quarter. It was frustrating to watch, because it was like the Magic were seeking out switches, and then they would just kind of just drive, and there was no resistance, whether it was atop the key or perimeter guys, and there was no rotations. It was just rough. I was really annoyed to watch that first quarter, because I'm like, guys, like, this is a Magic squad that is known to have been bad from the perimeter, so you need to force them to shoot the perimeter shots more. And we eventually saw, like, the third quarter, I don't think was the best quarter defensively by the Bulls. Like, we saw some adjustments, but it was too many fouls. The Magic shot 20 free throws in that quarter, right? But that second quarter, while I don't think either team really played well, we'll give the Bulls credit in that quarter for sure. But that fourth quarter, man, that was a really good defensive quarter by the Bulls. They did a good job of preventing Banchero and Wagner from getting easy layups inside. When we saw them force the 3-point shots out, even on like transition opportunities from the Magic, we still saw them force them into 3-point looks that were definitely wide open. But you have to take your bets at this point, right? The Magic are just so terribly from 3-point range that I was even shocked at how badly they were shooting, because I was just like, they shot like 12% from 3-point range at halftime, and I'm like, there's no way they probably shoot this badly. But like, maybe you just still just kind of bet on it, like they'll shoot like 20-something%, but they continue to shoot terribly. They shot 12%, bro. So yeah, this was good. The Bulls adjusted, and I appreciate that they did. You went from giving up 24 points in the paint in the first quarter to giving up only 58 points in the paint for the game. It's still not a great overall game, right, in terms of giving up points in the paint, but you adjusted throughout this game to prevent those looks for the Magic. And I absolutely just give this team credit for figuring that out and working through it. And he took the right bet tonight, so good job. Great way. I hate that Matas struggled. Matas has a lot of talent, but is in the learning stages. He's not established just yet. So this is the reason why I have not thrown out like, oh, Matas is going to win like most improved, or he's going to average like 20. Like, this is like the type of game that I was definitely worried about for him. It's a tough matchup, right? It's a tough matchup for him. with Banchero and Wagner, he has to guard and also has to go out on the other end of the floor, right? But there's a couple things. First and foremost, he needs to be better with his hands. He can't be fouling like the way he fouled today. He was swiping at the ball too much when he's too athletic to be just swiping at the ball, and he needs to just make smarter decisions. This is part of the perimeter defensive issues that I've seen with Buzelis a little bit that he needs to figure out. Just be a little bit better with his IQ on the perimeter defense. Now, when it comes to just himself, I am a bit worried that his ankle is bothering him a little bit. We probably will never hear anything about it because Buzelis is never going to say anything. But there was definitely some moments tonight where I felt like Buzelis was not as like jumpy, and it wasn't like showing like that great like verticality and like great length when he goes up in the air. So I do think that that's part of maybe why he was kind of just swiping at the ball a little bit today, because he's just not fully mobile as he usually is. But yeah, it's definitely had to be a learning process for Buzelis from a game like this. You cannot be fouling this often. I know there was a dispute about how many fouls he had in the first half, and I was also confused because I thought it was 3, and he did have 3, but the scoreboards showed 2. But Banchero and Wagner are going to be guys that draw fouls, so you have to be aware of that and be more smart when guarding those sort of players, and you can't pick up cheap ones, right? So this is really impressive by the Bulls to get this win with the Buzelis no-show tonight, right? But this is for sure something with the Bulls moving forward that Buzelis, we need to try to limit these sort of games. He obviously didn't play a lot due to the foul trouble, and then he was making some poor decisions on both ends of the floor at that point when he got into foul trouble. So I'm definitely a little bit concerned about just his ankle and kind of maybe see if that's part of the issue. But I hope it's nothing that's going to continue like anchoring him a little bit moving forward. I want him to kind of, even with a bit of an ankle issue going on, I want him to kind of work through these issues, find ways to adjust to what the defense is throwing at you, and make sure that you're not fouling guys like Wagner and Banchero like you did tonight. Because the next game for the Bulls is against Atlanta, and assuming Jalen Johnson is healthy, right, like that's another guy that's a big forward that Buzelis is probably gonna have to take some time guarding, and he needs to find ways to be better defensively. So learning process tonight. Again, I think Magic are really good, so if this is just, one of those games for Buzelis where a really good team just kind of got him, all right? But we can't have it, again, it has to be better moving forward, man. Magic are great. They lack any point guard play tonight, turnover way too much. I agree. I think the Bulls did force some steals, but I do think that the Magic also were they were kind of shooting themselves in the foot tonight with some of the turnovers. Now, Trey Jones, again, give him a lot of credit. He got 5 steals tonight. But I do think the Magic kind of shot themselves in the foot in some moments. But again, you take it. You gotta take advantage when the Magic are turning it over terribly, and we gotta go, right? And the Bulls did a good enough job tonight getting to the fast breaks. Plus, the Magic bench looked awful. The bench looked straight up just terrible for Orlando. It was awful tonight, yeah. So yeah, it's honestly really shocking with how badly they looked, because again, I hold Orlando way up here, but they might have not fixed their 3-point shooting woes, even with Desmond Bane. We saw Trey Jones and Ayo Dosunmu honestly do a really good job on Bane to not let him get 3-point looks throughout the night. So good job there, because very clearly that was a point of emphasis. We're like, hey, this is a guy that can kill you from 3-point range. Don't let him get looks. And we did a good job. I was very impressed, especially with Noel, Kobe, Collins. Special shout out to Jalen and P-Will. Shocked with P-Will so far this year, man. It's honestly really shocking with how P-Will has looked. So I'm gonna hope it's gonna continue. It's 2 games, so we can't just be like, oh, he's back or anything like that, which I don't even know if he's ever been this good overall, like in terms of just impact. But yeah, it's definitely it's a good sign for P-Will. I just hold my breath because I don't want him to just suddenly get injured and then we're like, oh god, like he's not 100% and his momentum's killed, and then all of a sudden he's not playing confidently anymore. But hey, I'll take this, man. This is a good start. It's a good start to the season for him. I'm sorry, hold on. I got a lot to talk about here. I apologize. He has been much better than he was in opening night. Less threes and more of his inside game. Yeah, we saw Jalen Smith, especially in transition, where like he'll just like seal someone under the basket, and he got some points from that. We saw him fight on the glass. Like, it was really nice from Jalen Smith. It was a good all-around game tonight from him. Yeah, and the thing with Jalen Smith, unfortunately, is like I know like the last game, for example, a lot of people were pissed off at him, but like that's kind of how he's like just kind of as like he is as a player. He did shoot a lot of threes in that one, don't get me wrong, but like that's kind of been Jalen Smith. So it probably was a little bit of a readjustment for him to go back to playing a lot of center after playing a little bit of the 4 in the last preseason game. But like the way that he played in like kind of both these games of like shooting the 3-point shot early and, you know, running up and down, like that's him. He just really didn't convert in that last game. So I think we kind of have to like take the good with the bad a little bit. But when Jalen Smith is right, he's typically a pretty like good spark off the bench. He's typically pretty efficient. So hopefully it's a good bounce back game and a good start for him, for, you know, good little streak for him with Collins being out for so long. So, yeah. No threes for Magic isn't new, but the assists low and turnover shows that poor ball movement added a great distribution. Oh, for sure. I mean, the Magic could have 100% used a Trey Jones, which like I've been adamant recently with a bunch of people, especially with my friend David, how much that like I think that Tyus Jones is at this point like he's not that great. Trey Jones is very clearly the better player between the two. And the Magic could have 100% used a Trey Jones tonight easily. That was definitely something that the Magic could have used. I don't know, man. The Magic, they're so interesting. I think of the world when it comes to both Wagner and Banchero, they just don't have like the 3-point shooting around them to always like get the best out of those two. But at the same time, man, Banchero's had 2 games where I'm like last game against Atlanta was horrific from him. Tonight wasn't the best. Like he started out great and then like he just kind of fell. Tired legs maybe, but it's getting to the point with me where I'm starting to get a little bit concerned for the Magic franchise, just a tad bit. Again, I have this Magic franchise way up here. I have them second in the East, so maybe I overrated. I probably underrated the Knicks because I had them 4th, and the Knicks look pretty solid. But yeah, I don't know. It's early days still, but we're seeing some things, and it's a little bit frustrating, I think, for Orlando Magic fans, where it's like you went and got Desmond Bane as to help your 3-point shooting woes, right? But he can't be the only shooter on the floor. He's not going to get any open looks. So, you know, like, I'm starting to wonder, you know, just a tad bit about Orlando. It's like, like there's still some shooting woes, not just from your main 2 guys, but just from the team overall. I know De Silva was having like a pretty good start to the season. He was just jacking up shots all night and was missing. So I know that's not the normal for him, at least from the first 2 games of the season, but he is still, even with his good play earlier in the season, like it's not like he's a bona fide scorer at this point in his career. So yeah, there's definitely some interesting things to think about with Orlando, but it's still early days. Also, ticky-tack fouls on that were driving me crazy, especially with Buzelis and Okoro, who I think is pretty bad, man. Yeah. So I think personally, I personally think this when it comes to Buzelis, I think most of Buzelis' fouls were correct. The third foul he picked up in the first half, I didn't agree with that one. But I thought all the rest of his fouls honestly were like pretty valid. He just needs to be better. Like, I'm being dead serious. He's too good. He has too many physical tools to be picking up that many fouls that early in the game and then picking up fouls throughout the game like that. He just has to be better, at least in my opinion. I do think Okoro kind of got screwed a little bit tonight, but I think the officials honestly were pretty solid throughout this game. If anything, I think Orlando kind of got screwed out of some weird calls. Like the Desmond Bane, for example, the palming call for Desmond Bane. If you're wondering, Desmond Bane didn't dribble before that, and Bane got called for palming on his first dribble. So I don't really know how to think about that one. It's a little bit weird. I won't lie. It's definitely a little bit odd to kind of think about that one. So, but I didn't, honestly, the officials called it pretty clean because when the Magic got a lot of free throws in that third quarter, the Bulls also got a lot of free throws that quarter. It was a pretty consistent calling throughout the game when it came to the fouls and what was like kind of ticky-tack and what really wasn't. So again, it's not gonna be perfect, and don't get me wrong, I went from saying the officials were good throughout the first 2 days of the season to now they're being back to terrible again. But I can't really complain too hard about this one, honestly. Booz wasn't odd, but the fouls, at least I didn't think were super over. He just had his hands ready and they sort of moved into them a few times. See, I think for him, like, yeah, maybe his hands were like in the proper spots, but like he still needs to make sure that his hands don't come down. and I think that's where he kind of got hit with some. So I personally think he just needs to learn. Again, this is a guy that says that he wants to be really good defensively. Like, you got to find ways to not pick up those fouls, even if like you thought maybe the officials kind of screwed you over a bit. But I think he's got to find ways to be better. Personally, playing fast definitely a good thing to face a Magic team with, especially back to back. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think the Bulls style was killing the Magic throughout this game. They can tell Patrick not to dribble next to ever. I would be happier. Oh, I would agree. I mean, if Pat can just take threes and just, you know, post up smaller players and get offensive rebounds, then I think he could be a pretty effective player. Just don't drive. Yeah, it's honestly something with Pat that I think he needs to just kind of consider moving forward. Just don't drive, honestly, unless it's like wide open. But you know, transition opportunities, shoot open 3-point looks. You know, posting up Desmond Main, for example, which we saw tonight, like, we'll take those. Absolutely. Offensive rebounds. Like, you got to find ways to score otherwise, because you can be pretty effective that way. If you drive, I think you're going to turn it over. I agree with that. But even though he drove it a lot tonight, I think that, and he had some bad turnovers on some of his drives, I think he had a good game. I think he had a really good game tonight. Yo, sorry. I'm like, I got hit with one of the Magic's 3-point attempts. Oh my god, bro. The Magic were bricking threes tonight. It was rough to watch. There was a moment where I think the Bulls and the Magic combined had like 8 threes for the game. I was losing my mind, bro. I was just like, dear Lord, I am like, to see both teams just not want to make a 3-point shot is just so rough to watch for me. But hey, man, the Bulls did it. They did it. They did a good enough job. It's a shame that Patrick is a glorified bench player. He got used in his role during college. It definitely is a shame, but I'll take anything at this point, right? Like, I'll take it. It's not perfect. It's just, I'll take anything to raise his stock. Because I agree. It's something that I think that we should not be overall happy with as a, you know, 4th overall pick. But if this is going to be his role, then hopefully we can up his stock just a little bit. Okoro had a decent game last game. This one was a big doo-doo stinky. Oh, bro, this was just flat out awful from Okoro. Missed open 3-point looks because the defense doesn't want to close out to him at all. And then missed 2 layups back-to-back where one he got blocked on, but to me, he shouldn't have gotten blocked on it. And he just flat out missed the other to start the game. And I'm just like, I understand it's a new team for Okoro, and I get that, like, if this is like a whole chemistry thing where he's just not that comfortable yet with the squad, that's fine. All right, I personally disagree because I think that making your layups is not a chemistry issue. I think that's just an ability issue at this point. You know, the defense not closing out to your 3-point shots is, again, just a skill issue. Like, the defense doesn't respect you. Like, I've been adamant that Okoro is not a good 3-point shooting player. He's at best a decent. He had a lot of wide open looks tonight. Just he didn't convert on any. But if it's a chemistry issue for Okoro, then I just don't understand why he can't come off the bench. I think he should get your, you know, chemistry better with the guys off the bench, and then once you start playing better, then we can put you in the starting lineup again. That is not me calling for Patrick Williams to start, by the way. Like, I'm not saying to start Pat. I personally, as long as Kobe's out, I want Io to start. But I don't think I'll ever get that. So then start Herter, or like start Dalen Terry for like 5 minutes or something. And that's fine. Like, if you start Dalen Terry like for the game and like he'll play like 4 or 5 minutes and then come out or something like that, like, okay, fine. But this is bad from Okoro to start. So I don't want to harp on it too much again, because again, this is a Bulls victory. Where I think there's a lot of good players in this one, so I'm not gonna harp on it too much from Okoro, but it is something that I'm definitely just watching moving forward. Vooch signed with this Bulls office. Vooch stock is rising. Some team will ask for his services. See, as much as I am happy with how Vooch has overall performed to start this season, I personally do not think any team's gonna be calling for him. He's on the last year of his contract. He doesn't play much defense, and he needs his shots when I feel like some teams are looking around the league, and when they're looking for help, they're looking for guys that don't need shots. So I personally disagree that teams will be calling for his services unless he actually becomes like all-star caliber again. But I hope I'm wrong. Like, I'll be glad to trade Vooch away. But I think at this point, the Bulls are looking to extend Vooch. I'm being dead serious. So, give get ready for that to come up soon. Maybe Trey will stay when Kobe returns to some starts, so with Kobe being the one move to the bench. That's what I think. I personally think that that's what the Bulls should run. It's just keep Trey. You'll start Giddey, Kobe, Trey, and you know Giddey's like technically the 4, I guess. Your backcourt's technically Trey Jones and Kobe White if you want to like be like think about like position and everything. But it's still just 3 guards anyway. It's the 3 guard lineup that Billy loves to run, so it's cool. You have enough size in that lineup, at least in my opinion, and Trey Jones has played too well, so I'd be okay with it. Vooch is serviceable. Oh yeah, Vooch was definitely serviceable for this one. I don't think it was definitely not Pistons level game from him, but he was serviceable. He made some shots, he made some post shots against some of the smaller guys, and he hit a 3. Like, you know, it's serviceability serviceable from Vooch. I think the fourth quarter was fine to play whomever, as Magic was just gas and couldn't get going in 5 minutes remaining. Oh yeah, I think Billy played the rotations great. I think the bench was the reason why that you're winning this game, and so you ran mostly bench guys to end that game, along with Trey Jones, who's having a fantastic game. I have no issues with it personally. They played better, but the matchup was not anything special, so a bit of a meh. I mean, I guess if we're gonna go off of like, okay, you're facing Badaze and Wendell Carter Jr. and Jonathan Isaac, sure. But I still respect it, because it's like, this is a big Orlando Magic squad, and like Smith isn't the biggest guy, even though he is like a big. But I mean, I think honestly, personally, against the Pistons, right? Like they don't have like the biggest bigs or like the best defensive bigs either. But Smith had a rough game, so it's just about still you got to convert, right? You got to come out and show and play better overall if you're Smith, and he did that tonight, so we gotta give him his props when it's definitely worth it. Definitely a deeper game than usually for who played well, which is nice. Oh yeah, I mean, I was honestly really shocked with just again like the bench play from Patrick Williams to how well Dosunmu was playing that second half after like not the best first half from him, to Jalen Smith rebounding. Like it was all bench, man. And like the biggest thing also is like Dalen Terry and like Julian Phillips in those minutes, like they weren't like detrimental. So if the Bulls can find ways to replicate this every night, then I don't think they'll lose. It's obvious though that the bench is not going to score 58 points every single night, but it does make me rethink, like recalibrate my overall like sort of depth of my like look of the depth for this squad early on, because I thought that the depth was going to take a major hit with both Kobe and Collins out to start the season, right? I thought that not having those 2 guys early was going to kill this Bulls depth, and we're going to see a lot of minutes that weren't exactly the best from the bench. But I mean, so far it's been pretty good. I mean, even that Pistons game, right? The Bulls bench was pretty solid. So I'm overall pretty impressed with the injuries, how well the Bulls bench has looked. And Pat's been a big reason why. Io's been a big reason why, and Herter's been pretty good. So, yeah, it's big to see these guys show up like this. Nice thing to consider when lots of solid games play. Nobody amazing, but relatively to normal big improvements. Yeah, I honestly go Smith and Trey in their own tier, and then Giddey, P-Will, Io, Herter in a great job tier. Maybe, yeah, maybe that's how we go. We go with what we saw tonight. Yeah, bad game for Montes, unfortunately. Yeah, this was like a no-show for Muzelis. Like, he scored a bucket, he had a free throw made. It's a no-show. If you're wondering, like, I have high expectations for him, and I personally consider him high, right? Like I said, 14 points per game and 1.3 blocks per game from Muzelis this season. I have high expectations, and I know some people want like 20, which I said this is a prime reason why he's not going to get, like, to me, he's not going to get to 20 points per game this season is a game like this, but you still got to play better than this, obviously. So, yeah, it's unfortunate from Muzelis, but he's got to learn. So come back out, and you're going to be facing, I mean, we'll see about Jalen Johnson's health in the next game here, but you're going to be facing someone that's going to be like a pretty big wing, right? And I expect Muzelis to get some time on those guys. So take this game, learn from it, and come out better in the next one. I'd be running trade there in most matchups a lot. Yes, with Kobe and Giddey. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just probably what you have to go with. As long as Trey Jones continues to play this well. He's played too good. I'm just going to have his inconsistencies like likely this season before a jump, hopefully next one with bright spots. And that's okay. Yeah, I agree. Like, that's completely fine. I'm okay with Muzelis having these rough spots. it's more so just like, all right, that game, next game though, we gotta be better, right? We can't have like these back-to-back games in a row where he's picking up 6 fouls in, you know, early fourth quarter. And it can't be like, you know, against that Pistons game, like his matchup was Oscar Thompson most of the night. And, you know, I think Thompson has gotten better, but he's not Banchero or Wagner. And sometimes guard Tobias Harris. This game obviously is different. You're guarding 2 guys that would have been all-stars last season if they didn't get injured. So the next game, though, assuming you will be on Jalen Johnson, which I don't know, like maybe not, but you need to make sure that you come out and are ready to not pick up those silly fouls. It's these sort of matchups where you're going to be seeing these sort of guys on a night-to-night basis in the starting lineup, which he obviously wasn't starting the entire season last season. So it's a learning curve that he's going to have to kind of figure out a little bit here. But it's early, so plenty of time. I'm cool with all the mistakes he's going to make. He's a big part of the future, so he's got to figure this out. I'm fine, honestly, throwing him into the fire, because it seems to me, at least with Buzelis, that it's not like Pat, where like if Pat's like thrown into the fire and fails, like he gets down on himself. Buzelis seems like the opposite. It seems like if he's thrown into the fire, he learns from it. So I'm okay with Buzelis just kind of like, if he's out there and he's failing, like it's okay for me. I'd be okay, honestly, just letting him fail, and I have more faith in him figuring it out even when he's failing, or looking at some rough moments. But that does not mean that I'm down on him at all. Like, this does not take away anything that I think of him moving forward. He's got to learn, right? It's young days for him in his career. Boo's ankle is often as good. He plays such limited minutes. That is also kind of, I guess, a positive from it, because the play that made me think about Buzelis' ankle being bad was when he had the ball under the rim. Like, he got it like off a good pass from Herter, and to me, I know that Isaac was there, and Isaac can definitely block his shot, but I've always thought of Buzelis like he's willing to challenge anybody, even when it was like the not proper time to do so. And so maybe Isaac does block that shot, but I think personally Buzelis would usually go up and contest it, and you know, if he gets blocked, then he'll learn and figure it out later. But he didn't even attempt to jump, and that to me was the play. I was like, oh, like I don't know if Buzelis is like fully there right now, like his body's 100% at this moment in time, because he seemed to not have the confidence to go up and challenge the shot blockers, when I've seen him go up when it was definitely not the right time to go and try to contest somebody on a dunk or a layup, and he just completely got, you know, wrecked at the rim. But I still saw him go up and at least try. So that's why I think his ankle's not 100%, but I could 100% be wrong, and I'm just speculating, and I'm just wrong about this, right? But I hope that if his ankle is not 100%, then he didn't play a lot in this game. He's gonna get another day off tomorrow, and then we'll see how he plays in Atlanta, because he's not on the injury report whatsoever. So I mean, at this point, we just have to assume that he's fine, right? This match is worst case scenario for Montes, 2 driving bigs to draw a lot of fouls. So like it might be the way that Buzelis is built, it really shouldn't be worst matchup for him, right? But in terms of where he is in his like his IQ and his overall development as a player, I can understand that for sure. Big not bold prediction for Magic is they're only great when Suggs is playing. I mean, the numbers definitely say so. So yeah. Fourth Knicks and second Magic's crazy work, not gonna lie. I mean, I think of the world with his Magic squad, and you know, Suggs missing today probably played a big part, but I mean, I could be 100% overrating this Magic squad for sure. I could be. But for now, I'm not, right? And for now, I think the Bulls just beat, in my opinion, at the bare minimum, a top 3 seed in the East. It's probably wrong, because the Knicks should probably be like number 2 or arguably number 1 this season, with what we've seen so far. But I mean, I think of the world with this Orlando Magic squad. They were, I mean, again, reminder, like, they were winning a lot of games last season, and like they didn't have Banchero, and they had Suggs and Wagner, and then I know Wagner went down eventually, but like when they were there, like it like when Wagner was specifically playing, like it was great. Like they were at the top of the East for a while. So that's why I'm just like, that's why I was so high in them. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just absolutely wrong about this team. And I'm overhyping certain players that don't deserve hype yet because they haven't been all-stars yet. Talks about the Thompsons, Daniels, Kamara, Dort type on the defensive end, their offensive secondary glue. I agree with this, yeah. Palming call was dumb, and that's because he was also taking a step while palming, so it wasn't palming, it was a travel. So when I looked at that play though, I thought, okay, did he move his pivot foot? I thought he didn't. So that's kind of the reason why I was a little bit like, oh, but hey, we'll take the call. I think the foul's going either way, Law. I don't think it was biased towards one side. Yeah, I don't think it was biased at all tonight. I think it was just like the officials were weird with their calling because they didn't call fouls in the first half, but then they called a ton of fouls in the second half. So, is what it is. I don't know if the fouls are biased unless you mean it was a bit in Bulls' favor a few times. No, I mean, yeah, if it was at most biased, it was in the Bulls' favor. I don't think it was biased though. I think it was fine. That Desmond Bane call was weird. The Bulls got a weird calls that were like, oh, you know, I don't know if we were shooting on that possession, but we'll take the free throws. So that definitely helped the Bulls as well. If anything, I think the Magic kind of got screwed on some plays tonight, but it's officiating. They didn't lose this game by 2. They lost this game by 12, so it didn't matter at the end of the day. Or follow Magic's way? Yeah, I think that's a good about estimate, yeah. Maybe Magic take Vooch? Nah, they're not bringing back Vooch. There's no shot. I'd be shocked if they took back Vooch. I would genuinely be shocked if Vooch goes back to Orlando. What are you seeing weird things? For sure, we got to see Herter start over Core. He actually had a quiet 2 games, quietly good 2 games. I could see it. My only thing with just Herter is just he's definitely not the best defensively. I know a lot of people try to give him credit for his defense, but for me, he's not really the best defensively. And so then if it like, I'm all for Herter starting as long as Trey Jones is in the starting lineup. But I'm gonna assume though when Kobe comes back, right, that like we're not gonna be starting Giddey, Kobe, and Herter. I think that's basically putting 4 guys that have not been the best defensively in the starting lineup, because if you include Vooch, right? So that's my biggest concern, is if you do it that way. But as long as Kobe's out, then like I can see Herter in it. Trey Jones needs to be in there for sure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Wouldn't want Vooch, but there are maybe some desperate teams that might be stupid and maybe not take some cheaper, better options. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, the problem with Vooch is just his contract still went up this season, I think. So that's the issue, but yeah, maybe. That's a good minutes too. Yeah, like Phillips, like it wasn't like anything great from Phillips tonight, but it was just not being detrimental. He played his defense, right? We saw him like get out and run on the fast break, even though it really didn't result in anything. But that's what we need, right? I just need him to not just be a detrimental piece out there, which like usually he's not, but sometimes if the defense kind of forces him to take some shots, he can be. But I think he did a good job tonight. Yeah. Bulls news, your thoughts on Chauncey Billups getting arrested in gambling ring? Do you think his job as Blazer coach is in trouble? So, yeah, let me, so Christopher, I will 100% answer that question today. I'll briefly just discuss it right now, but I want to get in more depth about it later in this stream, if you don't mind. But I'll just answer that. Like his job as a head coach in the NBA is, I think, completely in jeopardy. Because obviously he's just been arrested and he's being accused of such things, I'm not gonna go ahead and say like, oh, like he's for sure cooked as, you know, as a person or as a coach or anything. But it is definitely not looking good for him. And until something actually gets like, until we actually get like a final thing about it, I'm not gonna, I don't want to say anything about his character or anything like that. But what I will say is this: if he did go ahead and do the things that he was accused of, it's a really dumb decision by him. Like that's a really, really dumb decision that he's doing. And unfortunately, I thought initially that it was just this gambling, like poker rings that he was just a part of, where he was illegally like cheating in these games where, you know, you have like cheating technology. But then we find out later that there's potential that he kind of messed up a game when he was coaching Portland, It was against the Bulls in March of 2023, where he potentially manipulated the rotations to make sure the Blazers lost that game. Now, there's obviously tanking purposes, but there was also then potential, like, over-under stuff that was going on. So, again, I'm not gonna say anything, like, I'm not gonna say he's like a terrible person or anything like that, or be like, yo, this and that, until again we get an official word of what, you know, he actually is guilty or not. But it's definitely not looking good for him, and it's really frustrating to see this because there's already a bunch of people in the that claim that the NBA is already rigged, right? And so this does not instill any sort of confidence in these people to come back and start watching the NBA, right? I mean, hell, we've made the jokes in this chat about how the lottery was rigged for the Mavericks to get Cooper Flag, because the joke is that the NBA told the Mavericks, hey, LeBron's retiring, please send Luka over to LA to get a superstar over there, we'll give you Cooper Flag. Now, I've been adamant that if there's one thing in the NBA that is not rigged, it's the lottery, okay? And I'm talking about this current day's lottery system. Back then, with David Stern and him picking, you know, teams out of like a ball or whatever, that I can 100% see as being rigged, okay? That's a different story. But in terms of today's lottery, I don't see a reason why I would ever think it's rigged. It's recorded, like we can watch the lottery that happened in May, or yeah, I think it was in May. Like we could watch it right now if we wanted to. It's publicly released. There are people in that room. They don't allow anybody else besides the people that are allowed to go in that room. So I don't think personally that the lottery is rigged. However, with this being said, I do think what Terry Rozier, like from what I personally have saw from the game that is up in question from him, like it looks weird. What Terry Rozier did really looks weird with how he played that game. I wouldn't be shocked if there were more NBA players that would be telling, you know, people around them to say, hey, bet on my under. I'm gonna make sure I don't hit a certain amount of 3-point shots tonight, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked. But I truly hope that is not the case. And there needs to be a better job from not just the NBA, but from everyone else involved with the players to make sure that we're not having players manipulating or fixing games. That is something that needs to be taken care of, and that goes from the players, like their representation, to the people that they work with, to then the teams themselves, okay, to make sure that none of these people are, you know, placing bets on their own games, okay. But then the league also just doing better. The league promotes a lot of gambling, right? And I think it's pretty stupid to see that we're, you know, coverage of the NBA is, hey, there's a gambling, like potential gambling issue going on in the NBA, and these people have been arrested for it. And then, you know, after you're done with the segment, you say, all right, well, coming after this commercial break, though, where we're going to be promoting our ESPN bet props, and, you know, you want to bet on the New York Knicks game tonight to see if they beat the Milwaukee Bucks? Well, go ahead and sign up here, and you get $100 free in your first bet. Like, it's pretty stupid to be seeing that. Like, it doesn't look great. Now, with that being said, the players have to be better and make better decisions, because obviously you shouldn't be betting on your own games. But the NBA product is, right now, there's betting everywhere you look, right? And so it's not shocking to me to see that, oh yeah, some players might be willing to go and try to place a bet, because it's promoted everywhere. Unfortunately, this is something that I am very much aware of in like the esports scenes, because there's been a lot of accusations in like the esports, for example, of you know, bets being placed on esports and, you know, teams throwing games, right? So it's really frustrating to see. I don't want to see any more of it. But yeah, I'll dive deeper into it maybe later in the stream, or I might have to do it next stream, honestly. I do have to write tonight, so be patient with me. I've already streamed for an hour. I'm actually shocked at how quickly an hour passes by here. Yeah, Christopher, maybe check back in later in the stream, or honestly, you might need to DM me or something like that. I have more thoughts. Bigger take maybe on matches that Franz and Powell can meet out and they can win with the others so long it's with Suggs. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. If neither of these guys win to make threes, like, Suggs might just be their best player overall, maybe, or something like that, or just the very clear, less consistent all-around player that provides consistent value. Just going to jail for 10 years at least. I mean, that's what I probably expect. Yeah. Why didn't Billy call a timeout that let them get the challenge? Oh, wait, what? Which play was this, Tyler? I'm sorry, I don't really know. Was this the play where Trey Jones lost the ball? That's the one I can think of. Whereas after these last two games defensively for him, pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate effort, but it's like the same thing I said with Kobe, that it's like, I never think Kevin Durant is not trying that end, but there's just too many times where I feel like he gets beat. Like, there was a play in the last game, for example, that I talked about where it was like, it was later in the game and he just, like, there wasn't even a screen for him and it was silent out of bounds for Detroit and there wasn't even a screen against him and he gave up an easy layup to All-Star Thompson. And I'm just like, bro, like, I'm sorry, but that just can't happen. Again, it's not like he's not trying. It's just, I think, unfortunately, he just doesn't have the physical tools to be as good defensively, right? Being serious, Bellis will be incarcerated for a very long time. I expect that. Again, we're going to wait and see the evidence, right? I'm not going to be calling someone guilty until I see that they're actually guilty. But yeah, thanks for your thoughts on Phillips. I appreciate it. Yeah. Shoot me a DM, honestly, Christopher, or maybe check back later. I might maybe just come to the comment section. I have a lot more thoughts on it. Everything the lottery's rigged there. I mean, I don't personally think the lottery can be rigged. I mean, at the 51, like, that's just my opinion, though. I don't know why everyone's ats are showing. Usually it's your guys' names. I don't know why it's your ats tonight. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I don't think the lottery's rigged. You have to understand that they show each individual ball. So unless there's some other way of like technology to rig a lottery like that, where they show each individual ball being placed into the machine and it shows their number, so it shows like there's not like an uneven amount of balls for one number or something like that. I personally don't find a way to rig it. Like, again, you cannot, like, there is only a certain amount of people that are allowed to go in that room. There are obviously then 14 representations of 14 people representing each of their teams to look at what's happening in that room. And if anything looks weird, then they will 100% be calling out the NBA in that room. But no one has called out the NBA in that room, or called out the NBA publicly. So I personally do not think that there's a way for the lottery currently. And we're talking about currently, not previous years. Talking about currently right now. I don't really see a way for it to be rigged. Again, maybe I'm just being ignorant, and you can educate me on this, honestly, but I personally don't find a way for this to be rigged right now. That's just my opinion at the end of the day. Yeah, still does buy into conspiracy a lot more than other places according to studies, so I get the mindset. I mean, I'm not really sure about those stats specifically. Now, as a member of the USA, I would honestly agree with this, but I don't want to accuse people of such things. But I would agree. I've never seen a bet on esports law unless it's like a side bet done in person. Oh, you've never seen Valorant, Taro. There was a big betting scandal in the Valorant Tier 2 scene where people thought that they were their teams throwing their games intentionally and were getting like payouts of like 200k for just losing a game. So that's just the TLDR of it. That's to play the end of the game. Trey Jones dropped it out of bounds, but they called it out on the Magic. Trey was trying to rush it in bound, and Billy called a timeout. Tyler, you have it wrong. So the Magic called a timeout. They challenged that call. That's why it was reversed. The Magic challenged that play. It was not Billy's timeout. The Bulls were trying to inbound it, like you said, but the Magic, we saw Jamal Mosley come out to the floor and called for the review, and they challenged the play, and it was correctly called and changed. But that was not Billy's timeout. That was Jamal Mosley's. Yeah. It's a YouTube update that's showing our ads. Yeah, I guess honestly, it's weird. I don't like it because I know certain people, as like Charles, for example, and Taro King. I know that's you, just from your just from your profile pic, but I don't like this, honestly. It's weird. But yeah, it is interesting for sure. Yeah, alright, interesting change. Alright, I'm caught up on chat here. Billy called that time almost turn, that's what the broadcast said too. So as much as I appreciate Wayne, he also got like the first play of the game wrong, where was it for the Bulls? No, it was this play, excuse me, sorry. It was the second play of the game for the Magic. He called this an offensive foul. This was a turnover by just Banchero just stepping out of bounds. So I personally think that the broadcast, as much as we appreciate Stacey King and co, it's not right. Let me find it here if I can. Okay. Oh, interesting. Maybe you are right. What? Really? There's no way this is right. Because I know the Magic had that light on. Really? Huh. Maybe you are right, Tyler. I apologize. But what the fuck? What is this from NBA.com? If Billy did call that timeout, that's definitely a fail from Billy. But I don't really see a reason why Billy would call the timeout. Wow, they did call this? That's insane. Okay, then Billy definitely failed. Yeah, that's a mess up from Billy Donovan. Alright, I'm watching the play right now. I just want to look at it. Want to see if we can find a way to, if like we could see if Billy called it. I guess we can't visually see it, huh? Wow, I'm genuinely shocked, because from what I'm looking at Mosley's timeout, because he's out here standing on the floor and like he's like yelling at the officials like yo like timeout. Like the Magic then put the light on. Like I was just like, what? Like, okay, yeah, like this is very clearly Magic timeout. They're gonna challenge this call. I thought personally it was not off Trey Jones from the initial look, but then I thought, like, I think you can understand why. I thought Mosley called this because he's out on the floor and yelling like, hey, like, we're gonna challenge this. So my bad. But like, see, he just did the whole. But all right, yeah, sorry Tyler, but that's crazy. If Billy called that timeout, then he absolutely screwed over that possession. That's crazy. Yeah, weird. I don't know. Sorry. That is honestly nuts. Yeah, I don't understand this at all. This to me, this is still incorrect, but if Billy did really call this, which I guess he did, I don't know what he's doing. There's no reason to call this timeout if you're Billy. I guess he just wanted like a good play, but you cost your team the possession if you did, because then it gives the Magic a chance to challenge, and clearly the Magic then eventually challenge, so they don't lose the timeout then. Huh. Red pointer a bench was like, your coach called a timeout. Oh god, that's weird. I thought Zach Zarba was pointing, or I don't know who that was. I think it was Zach Zarba, but I thought he was pointing to Jamal Mosley out on the floor. But huh. Can you draw a timeout for the team to cancel the other team's challenge? No, you can't. No. So if you call a timeout, for example, and like there's like a play that just happened, right? The other team can call they can call their own timeout and then challenge, right? So if that, just to be clear, if that does happen and it's their first challenge, then they don't lose a timeout. So you then just call timeout and the call was reversed on the floor, and so you lose the ball. So yeah, that's crazy. I am sorry about that, Tyler. I could not believe that that's actually Billy Donovan's timeout. It didn't cost the Bulls the win, at least, but yikes. Yeah, there needs to be better awareness from the coaching staff and him to not call this, because you gave a chance for the Magic to look at that. Yeah, I'm shocked, honestly. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is I want to quickly go through some film to end this stream, and then Christopher, are you still here? I don't know if you're still here or not. Oh wait, I feel like you are you one of those people that told me you didn't have like Twitter or anything like that? You might be one of those people. All right. If Christopher's still here, then like start like a comment section thing for me, because like I do want to talk about like the whole gambling thing more, but I also it has to be a shorter night tonight for me. Like I'm not gonna be like I streamed for like 5 hours on opening for opening day for us, so we're not doing that again. Yeah, we have to do some stuff. I have to do some writing tonight. I wish came out of TL played much better, switched to full court defense, I believe. I mean, yeah, I guess it worked out, right? Oh wait, sorry, not you. That's you, Charles. I meant Christopher Parker. He's up here. Do you also go by Christopher, Charles? I didn't know that if you did. Not Twitter, then download just a comment once on your tweet. Oh, I see. But yeah, I do want to talk more about it, but we might have to end stream early tonight. I'll have to see here. All right, I have some plays to break down. That I think the Bulls, just to show you what did happen. Oh, I wasn't sure what name was coming up. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. Sorry if I'm mumbling. I'm so sorry. I'm still dealing with whatever is still like in my system from my sickness, and it's still bothering me. So I sincerely do apologize if I am not clear. But here, maybe I'll bring my mic closer. Maybe that'll help. All right. Let's talk about this, because I have some plays written down that I want to show you guys tonight. Maybe make a video for the gambling rant. I don't know if I'm gonna make a video out of it. It might just honestly be like another stream idea. Just to have like a different stream to talk about it. But I haven't just my only thing is like I don't want to tweet out anything about it just yet. Like I did tweet out one thing, which was about like if Rozier is found guilty, then like Adam Silver needs to like really fess up about some stuff, because I'm not happy with how many scandals have happened with the NBA recently. Like Adam Silver as a commissioner has frustrated the absolute heck out of me when it comes to his decisions with like certain suspensions. And then this whole Clippers thing is pissing me off, because it's like I don't know, like part of me about the Clippers thing is like I think that happens all over the league. And like, hey, I would love it if Jerry Reinsdorf would be willing to pay people under the table to get him to come here. But it seems like just the NBA, the way that they're handling it, is just like they just don't want to like accept anything about like what could potentially be happening. And then now this comes out, and I'm just like, bro, it's just so frustrating, because I love this league. I'm a big supporter of this league. I'm adamant about how much I think that everyone should be watching this league, and how great it is. But the more stuff that comes out, like even if, let's say for example, that like it's not true, right, it just still makes the league look bad. It's just bad PR at the end of the day. So because for example, like let's say Rozier and Billups and Damon Jones are found to be not guilty, like there's still going to be people thinking that the NBA has a bunch of players and coaches still rigging games, when it maybe isn't true at all. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna make this clear, and I understand this is a political statement of what I'm about to say. I personally do not trust the FBI right now under their current leadership. So, you know, calling the Raptors the Toronto Rangers was pretty stupid at their press conference that they had, I believe, in New York. It was honestly really, it just seems so unprofessional and unprepared from them. But with that being said, I am also very much aware that they have more info than me or maybe other people will ever have. So maybe they have more info and they could be trusted for this. But I personally do not trust the current leadership under the FBI right now. But yeah, we will see what ends up coming out of this. And hope nothing but the best for everyone that's involved. Long flu COVID this year rolled around. I mean, I don't know if I had the long flu. It's more so I'm having some issues with my sinuses, like the way they're reacting. And like my ears, for example. I don't know why my ears are like clogged constantly, but we're getting through it, and you know, we're doing our job here. All right, so let's watch a couple of things of just kind of explain what was going wrong early for the Bulls, and how I think that they adjusted to be better throughout this game. And we're gonna show just a couple things early on in the game that I think the Bulls were having some frustrating things to look at. And then I have a play for you guys that I think that will be fun to like kind of know moving forward, for us to kind of all know together and be like on the lookout and be like, oh, we can expect some action from these specific plays. I don't trust none of Patel of any people who hired. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to make this channel political or anything, but I've also made it clear on this channel before when the election was happening, like I very much do not like Trump and his people. So like Patel and everybody in those people is like, I don't trust them fully. But and that's a political statement. I don't want to get into that. So if you disagree with me, then you know I'm not here to talk about it. But anyway, let's talk about this. So this is what was happening early on in the game, where the Bulls in their transition defense were not doing well enough. They were straight up not matching up. They were letting guys they were letting the ball get too far into the front court without picking up the ball. For example, this play, right? You see Vooch is yelling out like, hey, we got to pick up the ball here. And currently at this moment in time, no one is guarding Tyus Jones. We have these two guys running back. Vooch is in no man's land, but there's probably someone over here or he's probably think I have to go over here or cover the paint. But either way, this is not good from the Bulls. And so you're looking at this as like, all right, who's guarding who? Then Okoro is yelling out like, someone pick this guy up. And so then we see both Buzelis and Vucevic go towards Tyus Jones here for some reason, which then leads to Giddey guarding Wendell Carter Jr. and Banchero on this transition defensive play, which then Giddey's like, oh crap, no one's on Banchero, which is problematic. And this is points in the paint, right? This is easy points in the paint for the Orlando Magic early on in this game, okay? This cannot happen. It just straight up is frustrating just to see early in the game you're coming out and letting stuff like this happen. I'm going to show you another play where it's the same situation. Early in the first quarter where the Bulls are just not picking up guys in transition early enough. So we're going to watch then this play here. If I can get to it, Jesus Christ, I cannot get to play I'm looking for. Here we go. It's gonna go black and then I'll come back here. Okay, miss for the Bulls. All right, we're back in transition defense, right? So watch once again, no one's gonna pick up the ball early enough in transition. Okay, Giddey is now just in front of him now, and he's at the 3-point line. This is Anthony Black, right? Like we gotta find a way to slow this guy down earlier. Okay, you allowed him to get right up here, and you can just see that no one else is really ready on defense, right? We're all just getting to the 3-point line. There's no one back here to stop any sort of drive to the basket, and it let Black get a step on us, okay? And it's an easy layup, right? Like this is not just solely Giddey's fault. It's on everybody. Like everybody has to come out and be ready to be better defensively in transition to prevent the ball from getting so far into the front court as easily as this. And the Bulls did a better job throughout this game to prevent these sort of looks for the Magic in these sort of transition opportunities. So better throughout the game, but this was what was happening early on. Like these are all paint points, right? This is how the Magic were accumulating their paint points early in this game. And it was frustrating because it's just like, guys, we know that the Magic are just constantly going to the paint. They don't shoot threes really that often, and they don't shoot it well if they do. So it was just, again, just really frustrating just overall. So let's watch this play. So this is not really a transition play. It wasn't missed by the Bulls though. But again, why are we letting guys like Wagner here easily get a step in the paint and there's no help? Okay, this is not just on Okoro, which I don't think Okoro played this well, but it's not just him. Okay, Like, at this moment in time, if you're gonna see Wagner's gonna go this way, I need Trey Jones to come in. Like, you gotta come in and like stunt at this, okay? But again, this is Anthony Black, and I know that he hit 1-3 in this game, but he hasn't hit a 3 at this point in the game, okay? I honestly can't tell you who this is. I don't know if this is Desmond Bain or who it is. Maybe if this is Bain, then I was doing things right. But if this is like the Silva or someone else, I'm not entirely sure. But you gotta come over and help, right? And you see Trey Jones doesn't come off of Anthony Black to stop this drive a little bit. And like Okoro does all right, but it's still steps for Wagner to get into the paint too easily. Wagner has a size advantage over Okoro. The help is late from Ayo. Like, it's just too late. I still don't know who this is. I apologize. But it's stuff like this where it's like the Bulls have to be better earlier in the games. We can't have this sort of stuff happen early in this game. So that was frustrating to see. Now, let me go and show you what the Bulls were doing better as the game went on. And so I'm going to show you a play here where the Bulls completely shut down, honestly, a possession for the Magic later in this game. And I was pretty happy to see it because it's like, hey, this is a good sign. We can continue this sort of stuff moving forward. Let's see here. Free throws. Okay. That is... Oh, I went to the wrong quarter. Sorry. All right, so let's watch then how the Bulls guard this pick and roll and how much they did to prevent a paint touch. Right, this is what it was so promising to see from this Bulls game. Is like, okay, they were willing to adjust as we went further into this game, but then come obviously then in a big time, like, you know, third quarter right here, like it's important that the Bulls are finding ways to prevent some of these easier paint looks. So simple here, it's simple pick and roll. So shout out to Herder, as we talked about earlier, for being better defensively, but he doesn't allow this Carter screen to completely negate him, and he definitely could have. Unfortunately, he did allow Black to reject the screen, but Vooch picked him up. So this is all right by the Bulls. But you see here, he made Black pick up his dribble. So now we have to go back out, and here comes Desmond Bain, right? Now let's watch Ayo get through this screen, right? Still no paint touch, right? Still no paint touch for the Magic in this possession. So Ayo got through that screen perfectly, stuck onto Desmond Bain, did not release Desmond Bain at any moment in this possession, right? Stuck onto him. This is the first paint touch, and you still see Ayo is on him like glue, right? And so now you're gonna see that Ayo, because he's in that position, he's able to get a really good contest onto Bain on a paint look, right? And this is now the first paint touch with 7 seconds to go on the shot clock, and it's a very, very wild miss, right? The Bulls don't close it out, unfortunately, on the possession, on the offensive rebound and everything, but that's what the Bulls are doing better, right? This is better defense throughout this game, and we're seeing them prevent easier paint touches for the Magic as we went on. So yeah, I appreciate this from the Bulls to work on this and force the Magic to get open looks from 3-point range and just be like, all right, we'll live and die by that, because they're not shooting it tonight. So good job by the Bulls. And so to finish off the good defense and how they were able to effectively change their, like, kind of adjust onto guys like Wagner. So we saw at the end of the first quarter, right, how easily Wagner was able just to kind of take a Okoro and go to the paint, right? Let's watch this play then at the end of the third quarter and see how much differently they were able to guard this, okay? So it's a lot of, again, just about effort, but it's still understanding guys' tendencies and weaknesses that you gotta learn. So let's watch, okay? Buzelis, okay, I give him a lot of crap, but he did a good job of getting through the screen here, right? Jalen Smith is up at a high screen and roll, which is good. So you're not letting Wagner get a simple downhill, like, you know, charge to the rim, right? Buzelis is still on him, right? He got through that screen. He's still on him, which is good. Good job by Buzelis here. Still on him, right? Now he's back in front. So in that initial pick and roll, you prevented the Magic from getting up touching the paint. That's everything that we can ask, right? And this is the best case scenario for the Bulls. You then see that Trey Jones comes over to stunt at him to prevent the right-handed drive from Wagner, and forces then a shot for Jace Richardson here. from 3-point range late in the clock, so he has to rush it, and he airballs it. Okay, now he's a very capable shooter, but he had to rush that one because it was such late clock. So everything again, it's just showing you from the bad with the Bulls early on to then place in the third quarter here, where I was like, hey, like we were not doing this in the first. We did a much better job here to prevent paint looks for the Magic earlier on in the possession. So good job by the Bulls here to adjust as the game went on. And hey, man, I have to give this team a lot of props, because I said I did not think this Bulls team was going to win either of these two games to start the season. It generally could be me overrating both the Magic and the Pistons, but I think that you personally just beat two of the top 4 teams in the West, or sorry, in the East here. So this is a really solid start to the year, but it's like, for me now, I'm looking at like that Atlanta Hawks team coming up here, right? And the Hawks have always given the Bulls problems for most of the time, at least recently with Trae Young. But like, I expect a good fight. Like, I think this Atlanta Hawks team is a pretty guaranteed playoff squad, and they just beat their Atlanta Magic yesterday, so I expect you to put up a good fight. I don't expect you to win, right? But I expect you to put up a really decent fight here against, again, I think a playoff caliber squad in the East. So you know, maybe the Pistons and the Magic are overrated. I'm overrating them, and maybe the Hawks are better than both of them. So no, though, like, I gotta see a good fight from you. I can't see you put up a dud after what you've done in these first 2 games. Okay, so you know, expectations are being raised as we are watching this squad, but it's because of their good play so far and their willingness to adjust and not be, you know, depending on always winning games from just like, you know, making or missing a bunch of threes, right? It's been more of an overall collective game, right? From the Bulls in these 2 games where they're not like draining threes at the ridiculous rate. The only thing I'm going to say, though, is this, okay? Between the first 2 games for the Bulls, their opponents have made 7 threes, right? The Pistons only made 4, and the Magic have only made 3 in this game, okay? So that's just something I just want to keep in mind. As good as you want to maybe give credit to the Bulls defense, it's not going to continue. So if you're wondering why I harp on, you know, we got to be better for protecting the paint, it's because, like, I know at some point that you're going to be facing teams where that 3-point shot is going to be going down, right? But at the very least, what I think that you can do is prevent easier paint looks, right? And so what we don't want to have happen for the Bulls, right, is you're getting up paint looks, and you also, the other teams just knocking down every 3 in sight. So we don't want that to happen. So I would hope that the Bulls are looking to still fix their paint defense from, like, you know, throughout the entire game, and not just, you know, working on showing good defense for like a good, like, second half or good quarter here and there, right? Because we cannot have you know, both areas of the floor be weak spots if you're the Bulls. So probably some luck involved, but I'm not taking away any credit from this Bull squad from when it comes to the opponent's 3-point shooting so far. But we're not going to be continuing where the opponents only make 4 threes a game. That is, it is just not going to happen. So how do you still make sure that you're putting in good defensive efforts, even if, like, let's say the opponent has made 10 threes, right? You have to make sure that you're guarding the paint well and not fouling as much. So there's always still stuff to work on. But still, good job so far through these 2 games defensively on the perimeter for preventing from 3-point looks, from wide open 3-point looks right now. That's a good sign so far, because in preseason you couldn't stop them. Like, the Bulls can stop the 3-point shot in preseason. The Bulls are getting cooked from the perimeter in preseason. So big change so far. It is the Magic, though. We will have to keep that in mind. Do you think Billy would go to 11 to 12 team rotations once Kobe and Zach come back? I think that is the plan. Obviously, health is always important, but I think that is the plan. I think you're going to see 11 or 12 guys in the rotation, because the Bulls are trying to play an extremely fast tempo, and you're seeing Billy give guys like 4 to 6 minute spurts, right? Like Trae Jones comes out early. Trae Jones comes out at like the 8:30 mark of the first quarters right now. So he's not even getting a full 4 minutes before he comes out of the game. So you're just kind of seeing Billy just kind of give these guys little moments And he's willing just to kind of ride whoever is playing the best, right? Like I think Giddy overall had a pretty good game earlier, but then kind of later as the game went on, he started to miss some shots that I think he needs to make some, and like Billy decided, all right, well this group is making these shots right now with Io on the floor, you know, Trey Jones running the team, right? Like you just kind of roll with it. So I think that Billy's willing to just kind of go with whatever is working and keep subbing guys in and out to keep guys fresh, but we will see. It might be matchup dependent, where, you know, if he thinks we're facing a pretty formidable foe and we have to just go 9 guys, then we go 9 guys. But if he thinks that we can run 12 guys, then I'd be cool with it. I think that is kind of mostly the plan, and it's already been said that Billy's been saying like he doesn't have like a consistent starting lineup yet. So yeah, we got out of the Trey stopper. Unironically, I think that we're gonna see Javon Carter in Atlanta. Like I'm dead serious, because we saw Javon Carter last time in Atlanta, where he hit like those 7 threes. So I think this is like the best time to use him because you're facing Trae Young. So I expect to see him. And yeah, I mean, Io has notoriously been really good on Trae Young in his career. Last time, I think Trae Young got the best of Io last time, but Io's notoriously been good on Trae Young. Yeah, Hawks might be without Kristaps, Jalen Johnson, Risa Shea in the game Monday. So I did also see that. I'm gonna assume though that like that is definitely the possibility, but I think as always the Bulls should be acting as if everyone's available. So yeah, I am aware that is a possibility, but yeah, we gotta see. Last time Io was hurt. Was he hurt for the game where the Bulls blew it in Atlanta, where like they were up like big and then they lost it? Was he hurt for that one? That was the game where Javon Carter hit like 7 threes. Oh, maybe that's why Javon Carter was playing, huh? And maybe that was why. Now, weirdly enough, I can just go to Javon Carter's game logs and just find it easily because he doesn't play that often. So you can just find the box score easily here. You all right? Yeah, Javon Carter, or sorry, Io DeSumo was not available for that game. Yeah, okay, so that actually makes a lot of sense. I did not remember that. All right, cool. So yeah, well, if I was available, then yeah, he'll hopefully be stopping Trae Young. That'll be cool to see again. Been a while since we've seen that. When he was playing while Hardy got pulled earlier. Oh, okay. So I guess Io then faced him later. Huh. I'm surprised Noah didn't come out and replace Modest when he fought. I guess the game was too close to bring him out. I think a big reason why was because Patrick was playing so well that you just put Patrick in. And the other guys of the Bulls bench were also playing good, like Herter, Io, and Smith were also playing good. So I think he had enough guys playing well that it was like, okay, we just roll with these guys and not add in someone else. I personally would love to see Noah. Like, I do think it is annoying to not see him right now because like the G League's not up and running yet. But the Bulls are going to be trying to win every game. And as of right now, they don't think Noah's going to be helping them win games. So, you know, that's their decision at the end of the day. Again, if it was up to me, I'd be playing him. But in terms of trying to win games, then obviously it's a tougher call. So, yeah. I was not expecting to be winning these first 2 games. Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm extremely shocked, and I'm thinking a lot higher about like this Bulls overall depth. Like, I think it's honestly a good sign moving forward to be seeing this level of depth, for many reasons. But yeah, it gives me a lot more confidence that the depth is actually gonna be like pretty solid. And the guys have overall like they've played to it. The only thing, one thing I have to say is this though, like, I don't know how much you want to give Giddey credit in that Pistons game. Like, he obviously hit the free throws, and the first half was really solid from Giddey. The second half wasn't though, and like he had his foul trouble, right? Buzelis though obviously had a really good game in that game. The issue though for them this game is that Giddey had like again like a good first quarter and like a good third quarter, but it wasn't like a complete game from him. And then Buzelis was a no-show, and so you're winning these games without Buzelis, who is supposed to be a major part of your core. And Giddey, I guess you could definitely say has been a big contributor, but he like again like he didn't like close tonight. Vucevic has been like, you know, he was a best player in game 1 and was, you know, helpful in this one as well. So it's like you're not really winning really because of this core group of guys that have been like kind of labeled as the core. You're more so winning because of either vet play from like Vucevic, or it's been in this one it's I guess some vet play from like Jalen Smith, for example, and Kevin Huerter, but then it's like depth play from like Io and Patrick Williams and like Trey Jones. So it's just a little bit like I'm trying to like kind of balance it out of like, okay, like these are like really 2 impressive wins, but how much do we want to say is like these are like the young core of the team in the future, when I feel like there's a good chance there's Io's traded, Trey Jones could be traded, and Vucevic is maybe not part of the team's future, and he's a vet. So it's a little bit like trying to balance it all in my head of like, good job, but I'm like missing more from some of the key pieces, at least in my opinion. Like Giddey's gotten to 20 points in both these games, so like he's hit my standard, but I also think he could be a lot more efficient with what he's been doing. Yeah, it's just like an interesting kind of thing to kind of think about right now. Trey Jones, man, I can't say enough about just how well he's played in both of these games. Like I've just been just shocked at like how well he's done, because when we got him last season, right, like he had some obviously good on-ball moments, but he was playing a lot off-ball, and it was really shocking to see how well he was playing off-ball. But like you're seeing him now in this season, like his pick and roll ability is pretty legit, and that's not something that I've really known of Trey Jones in his time in the NBA, right? Like his pick and roll ability to not turn over that often, to find ways to get shots over some big guys, effectively able to penetrate the defense consistently. Like it's just been so incredible just to watch him. And it seems like anytime like they're like the Bulls either start playing way too fast, or they start to kind of get all out of sorts, it's like they just go to him, and like he's gonna be the guy that I can trust the most to not turn it over. And he'll find a way to either like generate a bucket, or generate a foul, or generate some sort of level of paint penetration to open up someone else. And then defensively, bro, like the dude's just been everywhere defensively. It just seems like it doesn't matter who he's guarding, but he'll find a way to get a steal on someone that's like 8 inches taller than him. And it's like, as much as I love it, it's also just understanding that a team might be calling for him to look to get him for his services. He's on a very tradable contract. So I don't know if I'm just being too harsh, or if it's like I expect more from our young core, and it's like these wins are from some guys that are not necessarily like from our young core, but they're playing really well. But either way though, it is good to see, because like I've been really impressed with the fact that the Bulls have only taken 57 threes through these 2 games, and they haven't really shot well in either of them. Like we're talking like, you know, really, really good. Like we haven't like seen like, you know, 40+% or something like that, and like, you know, 36 and 37% is league average, right? But they've won both, so that to me is like really impressive just to see that. It shows that they're doing the other things that they need to do to win these games. It just like, I just don't know moving forward where I'm like, you know, it's been very much win by committee, plus then obviously like a Vooch all-star level performance. So I'm interested in seeing if this is either just like the way the NBA is now, or it's been two just really solid games by committee by this Bull squad. What's gonna happen moving forward? I don't know. Because winning by committee means that a lot of guys have to be on, right? It means that there's, you know, multiple players have to be playing at their best. I just don't know how much I can rely on that every night. And that's something that I'm just gonna be interested in seeing. This is honestly, if the Bulls go on and continue to play this well, and like, you know, we're winning games amongst like the best in the East, right? It's like, it will definitely then make me reconsider how the regular season is looked at, and how, like, you know, teams should be kind of built like to get like regular season success. I still am adamant that you need a superstar to win a championship. And I think superstar is definitely something that, like, I think people might think is like only like top 5 when like it's arguably top 10, at least in my head. But you need a go-to guy at the very least, right? And it's typically a superstar. So that's still something I'm adamant about, but we'll see how this Bulls team does for this season. Because, like, even for example, the Pacers, like, I know they just lost tonight, but the Pacers, without Halliburton and also without like 2 other point guards, they put up a really damn good fight to the Oklahoma City Thunder in their opening game. And the Thunder obviously didn't have J-Dub, but they still had SGA, Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, Lou Dort. Like, they still had a lot of their main guys. I know they were missing Caruso and everything. But, and I know J-Dub's an all-star, but like, the Pacers were able to go to 2 overtimes against the Thunder, and that's without Halliburton and no TJ McConnell and no Andrew Nembhard for most of the game. So it is interesting to look at. Now, obviously the Thunder won, but it was still impressive just to see. Like, I'm like, okay, like, the Pacers have a lot of depth. Like, they find ways to still fight. Now, they lost to the Grizzlies tonight, which I think this was honestly kind of coming for them, because the Grizzlies got absolutely wrecked against the Miami Heat last night. So them, you know, coming back here is not shocking. But yeah, it is just kind of interesting. I'm trying to like figure it out in my calculus in my head. Pressed up by Billy minus the timeout today. Yeah, that timeout was kind of crazy. I appreciate that, Tyler, by the way, for pointing that out, because I would not have caught that. Giddey low-key misses Kobe the most with his transition threes. I agree. Kobe in transition is humongous. Joe's been crazy good glue guy. He does everything. Yeah. TJ's gonna be to test AK's philosophy. If he thinks these guys are legit, then he has to keep TJ. I mean, definitely. I mean, he's played too good to get rid of him. He's been way too valuable for this Bulls team. So if he trades him, then he's basically saying he doesn't trust these guys. Either way, I think it's interesting. It for sure is interesting. Yeah. I'm just trying to understand though, like, because the East is just so weird, right? Like, it's so hard to kind of gauge where some of these teams are at, because, for example, I don't, like, as much as I think of the world of the Magic right now, which again could be wrong, or let's just take the New York Knicks for example. Like, I don't think the Knicks are gonna go out west and beat like any of the top like 6 teams out there in like a 7-game series. Like, I just don't. And like, you know, I think you can pick like six teams out of like your top 9 for the West, and I'm just like, yeah, I probably would be choosing the West. And that includes like the teams like the Lakers right now, who are like, you know, don't have LeBron, and the Nuggets, you know, they haven't had a great opening so far, but like, I have full faith in them moving forward. Like, the Timberwolves lost pretty convincingly to the Lakers, but like, I think the Timberwolves are better. Like, it's just kind of odd. And so I don't really know where I should be placing this Bulls team right now, because I guess 36 wins. A lot of it was due to the Kobe White Collins injury later that we got right before the season. And then it's like, all right, you got 2 wins against 2 teams I have high in the East. But it's also like, in neither of these games, it wasn't like Giddey went off for like an amazing game, or Buzelis had a really good game, but it wasn't like, oh, he's going to become like a superstar anytime soon. So it's just rather interesting, because like, Trey Jones has been a key factor in both. Vucevic has been pretty important in both games. And again, like, I don't know what Vuce is. Like, I feel like he might just be signed to an extension soon. So, I mean, I just like Brunson too much, but I think they could take everyone but the Thunder and Denver. Really? Are you choosing the Knicks over Golden State? Like, I personally am not choosing the Knicks over Golden State. Like, Golden State looks way too good right now. And then, like, I think the Rockets would beat the Knicks as well. I wouldn't say for sure they would beat the Rockets or the Lakers, but I wouldn't call them underdogs. Lakers are definitely interesting because it's just like you have Luka as a superstar that can just go off for 49. So, you know, he's just unreal. Like LeBron's out. So I don't really know where to gauge the Lakers either, but like what I do know with the Lakers is that you have Luka. Like he's just on a different level. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch. It's still early because like as much as I know some people are like, wow, Duncan, really only 36 wins? The reality of it is just that the Bulls could go and face some, like, you know, team that doesn't have that high expectations, like the Brooklyn Nets, for example, and they could definitely go lose that game. So, I'm not calling this team a, like, consistently good team until we, like, for sure show we're beating some of these, like, terrible teams consistently, but this is definitely one of the bigger litmus tests for me, which is that you got to beat these good teams, right? And this is a humongous litmus test to start the season, and they've done it so far. So now the next step is obviously go to Atlanta and put up a good fight, right? And then we gotta beat up on the Washington, the Charlottes, and the Brooklyns. Yeah. Maybe it might just be my terrible calculus of the Knicks. That might be what's going on right now. Because like to me, I look out west. I'm like, I don't think the Knicks beat the Clippers. I think the Clippers are too good. Like I think it's Thunder, Denver, Golden State, like Clippers. Like those are my top four I have listed. And then after that, it's like combination of the Rockets, the Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies. So I mean, I look at just all those Western Conference teams, and I'm just like, oh my god, it is just stacked on top of stacked. Like it's very, very good. Very good quality team. So I don't know, maybe I'm underrating the Knicks, but I mean, I haven't mentioned the Spurs, and Wembanyama looks like an MVP candidate so far. So I got to pay attention to the first quarter too, but Corey needs to figure out how to shoot near the rim better. I agree, Boo Baba. Yeah, it's been rough, for sure rough. Shades Alonzo Ball around the rim. It is definitely Shades Alonzo Ball around the rim. That's actually a pretty good comparison. Yeah. The unfortunate part is that he doesn't have Lonzo Ball shooting. Also back in Pat Island, this role is working for him. Yeah, if there's ever time to buy Pat stock, it's now. So I don't blame you. I don't trust Harden. I know it's logical on the stats, but it's logical on the it's not logical on the stats, but it's logical on the history. Fair enough. I just think from top to bottom that Clippers team is just better than the Knicks, but sure. If it's Brunson versus Harden or Brunson versus Kawhi, then you have an argument about that like those two. But I mean, I think the Clippers squad from top to bottom is just full of depth and great solid players and supporting cast. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Spurs might be a contender. Wemby is that good? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if Wemby's going to be playing like this, where he should have had a triple-double with blocks last night, but he didn't, and then he had a 40-point, 15-rebound, 3-block game, which was the first ever in NBA history, with no turnovers. Like, I mean, he might just single-handedly just lead the Spurs to a contention spot. Like, it's insane just to see this from Wemby. And, I mean, the Spurs, they're flawed, but Wembanyama really makes up for those flaws if he's playing like this. So it's early. They had some rough moments against the Pelicans the other night, but it's been, you know, interesting to look at. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see past this first week. These early days are for sure interesting to get like a gauge, but I'm also just like, I don't know how much the Spurs are gonna be playing. Like, can Wemby keep this up? Like, I don't know. You know, the Milwaukee Bucks, for example, are 2-0, and they just beat the Rocket or the Raptors the other night. You know, Giannis looks like an MVP caliber talent or MVP candidate this season again. So it's early days, but yeah, it's been fun though. I've been enjoying it. just Johnny Cook, some of your thoughts about tonight. So, first quarter for the Bulls was not that great, but they did a good job fighting it out. They gave up way too many points in the paint in the first quarter. It was too easy. I showed some film earlier in the stream about their bad defense in the first quarter. It was just too simple. The bench did a good job though throughout this entire game, including in the first to like get back the lead when the starters didn't get the lead early. And the bench had 58 points tonight, and like they did almost everything in this game. The defense still got better as the game went on, and I showed how the defense got better. And so it's a good showing by this Bulls squad to adjust. And the Bulls really toughed it out again. Like this is like kind of like a grindy-ish type of game, and the Bulls did a good job of making sure they got their fast break points, because facing a set Magic defense is tough. Neither team was really shooting the three ball well, especially Orlando, but the Bulls did enough on offense to get enough points and generate enough looks to score into the hundreds. And the Magic's 3-point shooting definitely helped, but the Bulls did the proper thing of betting that they wouldn't make their threes, and so they started to protect the paint more, and it worked out well. So good adjustments throughout the game. The bench deserves all the praise in the world right now, because they just had a phenomenal game from top to bottom of that bench. I think Jalen Smith and Trey Jones were probably the best two players of the game, and then after that it's legit mostly bench guys. It's like Ayo, Herter, Patrick Williams, and Giddey is like your better players, but it's like, again, it's mostly just the bench tonight. So really impressive by the bench. They did a hell of a job. Billy closed out with I believe 3 guys playing in the closing lineup from the bench. So big. Bucks do look good, not gonna lie, I hate to say it. So I mean, they faced Washington first. Now Washington went on to beat Dallas, which was insane to watch, but they beat Washington and then they beat Toronto, which was honestly really impressive to me. Giannis is doing insane stuff, but here's the thing that I guess some people were talking about is that this might be the most athletic team that Giannis has had around him in a Bucks uniform. So as much as that, like, there isn't really like a number 2 option for that team, they have the 3-point shooting to make up for some things, and then they have like athletic guys around him to kind of support him. So it might just be that combination of just having that Giannis like superstar level performance, and then having like athletic playmakers to try to help the squad to kind of be helping. That might be it, honestly. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued, because if Giannis is going to be just leading this Bucks team to victories, then it'll be funny to watch in the East, because I didn't think that they're for sure thing. Like Boston right now, for example, is looking terrible to start the season. They've had 2 tough matchups, but they're not looking great. I don't think they're going to continue looking this bad, but they're definitely not looking too good to start the season. It's just interesting just kind of see, like, is it just early struggles for some teams? Is it like great highs just to start the season for some teams, or will we see any changes kind of later in the season here? I so much prefer Phillips over Terry, so I'm glad that was done. Yeah, so Phillips got the call over Terry. The Bulls still went 11 deep tonight, so Terry did get play. But yeah, I mean, Phillips played more over Terry, but honestly, I don't think either were like a detrimental to the team tonight, which is good to see. Even in preseason, when we played them, they legit had a good transition defense. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just a transition defense as well. Like they actually like looked like pretty solid, like as a defensive squad as a whole. Like, it wasn't like perfect, obviously, but you could tell with Miles Turner back there that they're willing to take more risks a little bit. Turner gives a little bit more options in terms of pick and roll defense, because like Brook Lopez, because he's a shot blocker, you're not going to have him high in a screen and roll. Like Turner has been like a help to Giannis in that sort of aspect. But then like it's surrounding him with shooters, right? It's just really interesting. They just have a bunch of guys that can just, I mean, they're not all like amazing shooters, but they're willing to shoot it. And Giannis continues to put up 30, 10, and 5 every night, which is just like unreal. All right, I want to quickly go ahead and just go over some plays here for the Bulls offensive end, and then we're gonna end the stream here because I do have to go and write an article for Bulls on Tap. So a couple of things before I go ahead and we get to the end of the stream here. So first and foremost, thank you for all for tuning in. So it's been, again, these streams have been awesome just to start the season, so thank you guys so much for all tuning in. Hit the like button if you have not already. It's been great to see all the support on the streams and the content, so I sincerely do appreciate it. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel and like Bulls content. I'm gonna be all right, hold on, I'm pulling up my page on Tip Sports today. I'm gonna have an article either out for you tomorrow or Monday for Bulls on Tap or on Tap Sportsnet. So oh, sorry, hold on. That is not what I wanted. There we go. So, be on the lookout here for an article from me, with that link, in the chat here. All right, let's close this out here. I want to show a few plays. Okay. It's interesting always just to kind of look at how the Bulls sometimes run their offense, and let me show you a play here that I find interesting, and maybe we can kind of know about this moving forward. Oh, that's the wrong timestamp. Hold on, let me move to the right timestamp. Okay, so I even have to go back to before even the play for the Bulls is about to be run here. Okay, so pay attention to Giddey. Okay, but more basketball people that have better knowledge of plays know better about this, but I'm interested. Hold on, let me do a quick Google search. Okay, yeah, so pretty much though is you're gonna be seeing this. Watch Giddey. Okay, watch what he does with his thumb. Okay, thumbs down, right? Which basically means it's gonna be like a down screen action for the Bulls here, right? Let's watch this play here, and it's always so interesting just to like see these sort of plays called, right? So typical, again, 5 out for the Bulls. Okay, so you can't see the fifth guy, but he's in the corner. And so in this 5 out action, you might see Vucevic come over here and set a away screen for someone like Trey Jones to come up off of, but you see here they don't do that, and so Vucevic is just gonna decide I'm just gonna post up or just kind of seal his man off and get the ball at the top of the key here. Okay, he's gonna give it to him. Right now, this action here though is down screen by Giddey, which I don't know if he really sets a full screen here, but the whole action of this is that you're gonna see Trey Jones come off of his initial go down here, and he's gonna come up back to the top of the key, get the handoff from Vooch. Okay, and you're gonna see them decide to run the pick and roll. You're gonna see here as this happens, good job by people starting to move around. Right, we want to make sure that we move as the pick and roll is run. And you're going to see here now, we have decent post position for Vooch. And unfortunately, this is one of Okoro's misses. But it's just an idea that the Bulls have within their offense, right? So, that's basically just like it's basically when you see this, it's just like, expect like some sort of down screen, right? You see some sort of down screen to initiate some sort of like pick and roll action for the Bulls and to get the players moving. So, it's a good idea overall. I don't love that Vooch got like the post up, but he had decent post position there. Ideally, that creates a switch, right? And if Vooch hasn't switched, then it's a really good option. But it didn't end up happening there. It's a good pass from him. It just Okoro unfortunately met a shot blocker, so it's unfortunate for him. Now let me show you this. Okay. So that's a foul, and I'm showing this intentionally, okay? Hopefully you don't get hit with copyright. But you're gonna see at one point here, I hope it's soon. Okay, here's Billy. Watch Billy, right? Thumbs down, right? So you're gonna he calls out thumbs down for the next play. And now what's the next play for the Bulls? We're gonna skip ahead here because of free throws. So similar action, right? It's not the same, but it's going to be a similar action. So instead of, the center up here, it's going to be Patrick Williams going to get the ball up here, okay? And Trey Jones decides to throw the ball to him, and so what's the action here? Well, look at that. It's a down screen for Kevin Herter to come up here and get the ball, right? So it's not the same, right? It's not definitely not the same action that we saw in the first play, but it's very similar, okay? And so when you see this sort of action, when you see this play call, whether it's from Giddy or whoever's calling out these plays at any given moment, right? You're going to see this sort of action where the Bulls decide, all right, let's look at a 5-out offense. We're going to then throw it to we're going to pass it off to a bigger man, right? Whether it is like Patrick Williams or our center on the floor. And you're going to be seeing the guard that brought the ball up the floor is going to be sending some sort of down screen or someone to come up off of and get the handoff, right? The whole point of this is, all right, well, if we're going to have this sort of action where we set this sort of pick down here, this guy comes up, this could be a switch that the defense doesn't get proper, right? And then if they don't switch, then someone's going to be trailing, right? This can either lead to then when the screen set here from off the handoff and either open 3 here, or it's going to lead to what Herter's try to do, which is try to drive. The Magic switched everything, though, okay? And so you see the switch here doesn't get us anything initially, and so now we have to reset. Now, the good news, though, out of this is that because you have this switch, and this is good by the Bulls, right? You decide, oh, well, we initially Banchero is guarding Patrick Williams. Well, now that's no longer the case. And so now Herter has Banchero on him. Now, let's throw the ball back out to Trey Jones, and let's just run the pick and roll with these two guys, okay? Okay? Pay attention, right, to everything that the Bulls did in that one little instance. So, another switch, right? But how much have I talked about that if someone's going to go drive right, then you have to move right, okay? And this is fantastic by Io to move up, going in the same direction where the basketball was going, right? Gets the pump fake and decides to drive it. Better decision making probably gets you the bucket. But this opened up either a 3-point look for the Bulls here or a potential layup for the Bulls in the paint. Unfortunately, just I didn't convert, right? Maybe some better decision making where he goes to his right side, is able to get that bucket, but I'll take this, right? It is just very fun stuff just to see from the Bulls, where it's like you can point out certain actions coming, be like, oh hey, we know that this now for the Bulls is we're gonna expect some sort of down screen coming from the left side for a handoff action, and let's see how the Bulls maybe change that throughout the season moving forward. So want to point that out to you guys, as I think it's pretty fun to look at. What's going on, Patrick? Are you watching the games now that it's finally on Xfinity, or is it still messed up for you? I'm pretty sure you guys have it now. I've been watching. Okay, awesome. Yeah, honestly, man, I'm impressed. I did not expect the Bulls to be winning these 2 games, man. But it's been fun to watch. It's honestly been really fun to watch these 2 games for the Bulls. Definitely not the end of that Pistons game. That end of the Pistons game was not fun to watch. But to see this team, like, you know, come out and be winning by committee like this, it's been pretty impressive. I can't lie. These are 2 impressive wins. So it's been really cool to see. We're finishing up some film breakdown here, so unfortunately you checked in at the end of the stream, but we are finishing up some cool stuff here. I can go through it one more time really quickly, but I just want to show you chat this final play here, and then I'll do like a little small session for you after I'm done with this with the film breakdown. So remember I showed you guys the first play that I showed you on offense, right, where it's Giddy did the thumbs down, and we saw that you know, it's 5 out, like Vooch looked like he was gonna set a screen for someone to come up here, but instead they decided to negate that, and it's, you know, you see the guy go down, Giddy passes off the Vooch here, and then Giddy comes down, sets a down screen, and the guy comes up to get the ball, right? Well, so let's watch this play. So ball goes thrown to Vooch. Uzelis is already down here. Where is Giddy going, right? come on down, set it down screen. Buzelis then gets the ball here, right? And now it's just pretty much, it's up to what Buzelis wants to do, right? In a perfect world, I want him to shoot this 3, okay? But if he decides not to, then all good. Drive to the basket, got the foul, right? Desmond Bane, there's no way Desmond Bane can guard him, right? And it's always just something early on in this Bulls season that seems to be a staple, where we're trying to get the guys moving at the top of the key more. And so this allows guys like Herder and like everyone else in the corner just kind of not do too much, but it gets the 3 guys at the top to move around a lot, and sets up guys like Buzelis who can like take one-on-one matchups really well, to be put in like good positions. And so this is just a pretty good option for the Bulls at this moment in time. Bulls I've always have trouble with Atlanta. I agree. I mentioned my Atlanta worries earlier in the stream. Viper Strike brought up Io being back and being Trae Young's like father or whatever, but yeah, we'll see how the Bulls do against Atlanta here. We have notoriously struggled against Atlanta for whatever reason, but the Bulls are gonna need Buzelis to show up in that one for sure. Even if Jalen Johnson and Reese Shea are out, I think the Bulls still need to see Buzelis show up, because this was definitely a no-show from him. Yeah, be interesting to see. Patrick, if you're still here, let me just show you what I quickly just broke down. So I showed in 3 separate instances where the Bulls are calling a specific play, and you're gonna see them run these plays. Mention again, it's Giddey here, it's Vucevic here, someone's over here, right? But typically what this means though is very clearly that one of the actions for the down screen is this guy's gonna get the ball at the top of the key off of handballs, okay? Now if you want to see how this was replicated, okay, let's go back to here. Started here, he's gonna go down, and you'll see Giddey coming down here and set a down screen for Buzelis come back up, okay? And you see here comes a down screen, Buzelis comes back up, here's the handoff, and so at this point it's very clearly just kind of do whatever you want, right? Pick and roll, ISO. If Buzelis is a mismatched up, so usually someone was always over here and then going down, and then the guy that brought the ball up is going to set the down screen, and this guy is going to come up and get the ball. But this time though, there's no one over on this side, right? You see that Herder, you can't really see him too much, but Herder's right here, okay? This is Herder. And so you're going to see here that Tre Jones is going to instead set the screen for Herder, who decided to act as if he's going to set this little cross screen for, I think this is I over here, but instead Tre Jones sets the screen for him, and Herder just comes up and gets the ball from Patrick Williams at the top of the key. He's got the switch here, so now that Banchero's on Herder, and so the Bulls recognize it, they throw it back out to Tre Jones, and now you see the Bulls where they're kind of thinking on the fly, where they decide, hey, all right, now Banchero's on Kevin Herder, so let's run the pick and roll with now Herder setting the screen, okay? And so the Bulls run the pick and roll here. It ends up getting the Bulls a pretty decent option where Io does a good job of moving because Bane has to come over and help. I would take that. It's a paint look for Io, right? But you see how the Bulls are using this action kind of differently throughout the game. And it's setting up some stuff. So, yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in seeing kind of the level of variations the Bulls have with this sort of play. Because this is like a new play for them, I think. I like it though. It's good action at the top of the key. Allows guys to kind of make some decisions on their own and kind of read what was given to them from the defense. Like if it's a switch, if it's some level of like drop defense or whatever. It's just interesting to just look at. Tingus Pingus was out last game too, right? Was it not injury? I believe it was injury, but I could be wrong. I don't know why Porzingis was out, honestly. So I might have to check on that. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's my breakdown for today, though, for the Bulls. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed that, Patrick. Yeah, it's these sort of things that like I always like looking for, because, for example, last season, I figured out when Patrick Williams would bring the ball up the floor, it was a Bulls horn set for Giddey to get the ball on high block or high post, excuse me, and then you would just understand like, okay, Giddey's gonna get the ball here, and then there's always variations throughout this Bulls system with these plays, but it is always just kind of fun just to see like, hey, like this is something. just to keep in mind. Illness. Okay, got it. I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Other than they have not. The Bulls have struggled with Atlanta. Like, we're just being honest. Like, I think the Bulls were 2-1 against Atlanta last season, and like, the Bulls should have won at least one of those games in Atlanta. The Bulls have struggled against Atlanta though, for sure. It's been a problem, especially going to Atlanta. It's been an issue. Let's see here. What are the Bulls? Wait, come on, I'm trying to find. Where's your splits? There it is. Where is Chicago? Oh, no, I'm looking for Atlanta. Sorry. Oh, I guess it's okay. So we were 2-2 last season. All right. I just God, maybe okay. I guess it was 2-2. So all I remember, honestly, God, man, that game where Atlanta had nobody, like. It was like G League guys from Atlanta because they had so many guys out, and the Bulls lost that game in January. I was just like, oh my God, bro. It was just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, there's no reason for the Bulls to be losing that game, and they just got wrecked. I was just like, God, that absolutely sucks. Let's see, where? Trying to find these Atlanta games for us. That's not it. Yeah, let's see here. So it was 2 early W's. Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember this one. This is where... Actually, no, I don't remember this one. What happened in this game? Honestly, I could not recall this one, but hey, good win with the Bulls. And then the in-season tournament win, I remember this because like I remember it was like, oh my God, it's like Boston just loses and the Bulls might make it, and then we lost our next two. This one was this is the one that I always remember because there was nobody playing for the Hawks this game. I mean, what the hell is this? Ian Wallace gave us 27. This game was just so stupid to watch. Yeah, I was so livid watching this game. I was just like, God, there's no one playing, and you can see like, all of us are playing. Like, you know, everyone's fine here. But no one was playing for Atlanta in this game. I mean, the Bulls just got wrecked. Not even close here. So maybe I'm wrong, but we've had some tough losses against Atlanta for sure. We're just like, yeah, that should not have happened. Let's look at the previous season, honestly. Let's look. I know. All right, W here, and then an L and oh, this is another W. Okay, I guess I'm wrong. And then an L and then a W. Okay, so we beat them 3 times. Let's see. 3. Okay, yeah, we beat them 3 times last season. Huh. Honestly, then I don't know why it is. Maybe it was just that January game that just like was bothering me. This was an L win. All right, yeah, I guess we're pretty solid against them. Let's see our record recently. Oh wow, okay. So according to StatMuse, then the Bulls, it's been 11-9, so it's like we're pretty much even with Atlanta since 2021. So, all right, cool. I did not know that. I feel like it's always a struggle against them for some damn reason. I feel like Trae Young just gives us the business in some of these games, and then it's like either Io is like playing and he's like he'll save us, or it's like Io's not fully playing and it's just like, oh God. Yeah. I guess now I think about it, there was definitely the game where DeRozan had missed the DeRozan missed the game winner, and then Io got the rebound and he put it up and in as the buzzer went off. I guess I forgot about that game. That was a win in Atlanta. I know the play-in tournament happened. Let's see if I can remember any other wins. Nothing that really jumps out of my head. Yeah. All right. Cool. So we'll let's see what happens then. I do think, assuming that everyone is healthy, that's gonna be the more interesting thing. We'll see how many people are healthy for Atlanta, but this could be interesting to watch. I think that this is gonna be a pretty good matchup. Then, if the Bulls can continue to play this way, where they're not relying on their 3-point shot and they're finding ways to adjust defensively throughout the game, and still finding ways to prevent the opposing team from making their threes, then you're looking pretty solid against a team like Atlanta. Yeah, I'll definitely be interested to see how this is gonna go. We'll see who's available. Obviously, like Porzingis and Jalen Johnson and others are out, then that's pretty humongous. As Ubaba said that they have that Porzingis is out with illness, so we'll see his status for the next game. But the Bulls will be facing Atlanta on Monday here. So Bulls are 2-0, which again, never thought this Bulls season would start this way, but hell of a start for this Bulls squad. Bulls will be taking on Atlanta at the United Center on 7 p.m. Central Time, so 9:30 p.m. Central Time is going to be the post-game stream here, so always check in. And once again, check for OnTap Sportsnet for an article for me. It should either be out tomorrow or Monday. So be on the lookout. So Bulls are 2-0. Never thought I'd see this day, honestly. I feel like the last time the Bulls started 2-0 was when the Bulls started 4-0 with when Lonzo and Caruso and DeRozan were here for the first time. So good start to the season, and Bulls got to take it to Atlanta. I think that this is a pretty beatable Hawks team if they don't have people healthy, but even if they are healthy, then I expect to see the Bulls put up a good fight. They've raised the standard to be doing well against some of these Eastern Conference foes early on. So make sure that, Buzelis, for example, doesn't have another dud. A Coral finds a way to actually make a bucket in a Bulls uniform. That'd be a good start. And we find ways to continue to adjust defensively, especially against like Trae Young, for example, who I already have a feeling he's going to give us an issue, but we'll see if Io can shut him down. Other teams have a shortcut ability plays if they watch Duncan streams. Yeah, I hope that they're not watching. I mean, hell, Caitlin Cooper for the Pacers, she covers the Pacers. Like, she just gives out secrets. Like, if you look at her tweets and some of her breakdowns, like, she's just giving out the Pacers secrets, and it's just like, she has like 40k followers on Twitter. So I'm not at that level. So I hope that, Billy Donovan and co aren't going to be calling for my head, for scouting out their plays or anything. But I doubt that other teams have scouts watching the Bulls 24/7. So I don't think they'll have as much info as I do when it comes to this squad. All right. With that being said, though, I appreciate everyone checking into the stream. Thank you guys for another great stream. I sincerely do appreciate all the support throughout preseason into the season so far. It's been great. Thank you to my community for also just being great. It's been a lot of you guys. It's been your responsibility and everything to keep the vibes good, and I think that we've done a really good job of that. Either with myself or just people within the stream, it's been really good. So I sincerely appreciate all of it. I also appreciate the good commentary from everyone, and making sure it's respectful. It's this is not possible without you. So thank you so much for keeping this community respectful, and a good spot to just be talking Bulls basketball. I sincerely appreciate all of that. I hope that means that we're fostering a good community here. I try to do my best. So thank you guys so much for sticking with that throughout these streams and all the videos and everything, as it truly does mean a lot. If you have not hit the like button on the stream yet, please do. Helps me out a lot. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel like Bulls content. We'll be making content all season long. And once again, I'm going to be pitting my OnTap Sportsnet link. It's my author link, so please go ahead and check that out. If you have not read any of my articles yet, I have 2 articles posted. But expect an article in the next 2 days from me. So please, I sincerely do appreciate all the support with anything when it comes to my content. You guys doing it and supporting it, it truly does mean a lot. It's been a lot of fun to see how much traction my content has gained recently, and people appreciating it. So thank you guys so much. I sincerely do appreciate it. I'll be seeing you guys, I guess, on Monday. Yeah, I'll be seeing you guys on Monday after the Bulls take on the Hawks, and we'll see if the Bulls can actually start 3-0. I never thought I'd see it, but we'll see if the Bulls are actually able to start 3-0 here after taking on the Hawks. So I'll see you guys then. Be safe. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. I'll see you next time. Peace.